Frontline Heroes, WW2 Warfare. War is not fought by history books. It is fought by trembling hands gripping rifles, by boots sinking into mud stained with blood, by hearts pounding in the silence before gunfire. The world on fire. By 1939, the world was collapsing into chaos. Europe burned under the shadow of Nazi Germany. Asia trembled beneath Imperial Japan's expansion. What began as political ambition became the deadliest conflict in human history. Over 70 million soldiers were mobilized. More than 60 million lives were lost. But numbers cannot capture fear. They cannot describe the sound of artillery tearing the sky apart, or the screams echoing through ruined cities. That reality lived on the front lines. Frontline warfare in World War II. Frontline warfare in World War II was brutal, relentless, and unforgiving. Soldiers lived in trenches flooded with rain and rats. They slept inches from death. Cold gnawed at their bones. Hunger weakened their bodies. Fear followed them like a shadow. Every dawn could be their last. There were no guarantees, no pause buttons, no second chances. And yet, when the whistle blew, they climbed out of the trenches. The European Front, hell on earth. The Eastern Front. On the Eastern Front, the war between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union was pure annihilation. Battles like Stalingrad turned cities into graveyards. Soldiers fought house to house, room to room. Snipers waited in silence for days. Frostbite killed as surely as bullets. Many Soviet soldiers went into battle with no weapons, forced to pick up rifles from fallen comrades. Still, they fought because retreat meant death. The Western Front. In the West, Allied forces faced the full power of Germany's war machine. The beaches of Normandy became a slaughterhouse on D-Day, June 6, 1944. As landing craft doors dropped, soldiers were met with machine gun fire. Men fell before their boots touched sand. Some drowned under the weight of their gear. Others crawled forward, wounded, terrified, yet unstoppable. Against impossible odds, they pushed through, because freedom was waiting beyond those beaches. The airmen above the chaos. High above the battlefields, another war raged in the skies. Bomber crews flew missions knowing their chances of survival were slim. Flak explosions shredded planes mid-air. Fighters attacked without mercy. A single hit could turn metal into a flaming coffin. Many airmen were barely in their 20s, yet they climbed into aircraft again and again, not because they were fearless, but because they refused to abandon their brothers in the sky. The Pacific Front, a different kind of hell. The Pacific War was fought in jungles, islands, and oceans. Here, the enemy was not only the Japanese military, but nature itself. Heat exhausted soldiers. Malaria ravaged units. Rain turned camps into swamps. Battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa were savage beyond imagination. The Japanese doctrine rejected surrender. Every inch of ground was defended to the death. Flamethrowers cleared bunkers. Grenades were thrown into caves. The air smelled of smoke, sweat, and blood. There was no glory, only survival. Brotherhood in the face of death. What kept soldiers fighting wasn't patriotism alone, it was brotherhood. The man beside you became family. You shared food, fear, and final prayers. Soldiers risked their lives to drag wounded comrades to safety. They charged enemy positions to save each other. Medics ran into gunfire with red crosses on their helmets, targets, not shields. Courage was not loud. It was quiet determination in the face of horror. Unsung heroes. Not all heroes carried rifles. Medics saved lives under fire.
Engineers cleared minefields. Radio operators maintained communication while under bombardment. Resistance fighters sabotaged enemy supply lines behind the scenes. Many were never recognized. Many never returned home. Their sacrifices are written in silence. The cost of victory. Victory came, but at an unimaginable cost. Soldiers returned home broken in ways no one could see. Nightmares haunted their sleep. Loud noises triggered panic. Memories refused to fade. Many carried guilt for surviving when others did not. The war ended, but for them, it never truly stopped. Why we remember. World War II frontline heroes were not superhuman. They were scared, they doubted, they suffered, but they chose courage over comfort, duty over fear. They remind us that freedom is never free, that peace is paid for in blood, and that even in humanity's darkest hour, there were those who stood firm against the storm. Final words. The front lines of World War II were places of unimaginable horror, but also unimaginable bravery. These heroes did not fight for medals or monuments. They fought for each other, for their families, for a future they might never see. Today, we live in that future, and we remember them not as soldiers alone, but as human beings who carried the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Legacy of the Frontline Heroes. The war ended in 1945. Guns fell silent. Flags were raised. Cities slowly began to rebuild. But the frontline heroes carried the war with them. Some returned with missing limbs. Some returned with scars no one could see. Some never returned at all. Their letters stopped arriving. Their names were carved into stone. Their chairs at the dinner table remained empty. And yet, because of them, the world moved forward. Women on the front lines. World War II was not fought by men alone. Women served as nurses, pilots, code breakers, resistance fighters, and factory workers. They patched wounds under bombardment. They flew supply missions through enemy fire. They cracked enemy codes that saved thousands of lives. They carried messages through occupied cities, knowing capture meant torture or worse. Their courage reshaped the meaning of heroism. They proved that bravery knows no gender, only purpose. Moments that defined humanity. Amid the destruction, there were moments of humanity. A soldier sharing his last cigarette with a wounded enemy. A medic refusing to abandon patients as shells fell around him. A unit holding the line so civilians could escape. These moments mattered because war tries to strip people of their humanity, and the frontline heroes refused to let it win. The final battles. As the war neared its end, the fighting grew more desperate. Berlin burned. The Pacific Islands became killing fields. Every battle felt like it might be the last or the deadliest. Soldiers pushed forward, exhausted beyond words. They had seen too much to stop now. And when victory finally came, it arrived not with joy, but with silence. Silence for those who never saw it. What the front lines taught the world. World War II changed warfare forever. It showed the cost of hatred unchecked, the danger of power without morality, the destruction that follows when humanity is forgotten. But it also revealed something else, that ordinary people can endure extraordinary suffering, that courage can exist even in fear, that hope can survive in the darkest places. A debt that can never be repaid. We owe the frontline heroes more than remembrance. We owe them understanding. We owe them peace worth the price they paid. We owe them a future that learns from the past. Because every freedom we enjoy was once defended by someone who stood in the line of fire,
someone who did not run, someone who stayed. The frontline heroes of World War II were not born legends. They became legends the moment they chose to stand when the world was falling apart. They walked through hell so others would never have to. And as long as history is remembered, as long as freedom matters, their sacrifice will never fade. This was not just a war. This was humanity's darkest test. And on the front lines, heroes answered the call.